So I go directly to the PMI website and I will share the link also along my navigation. So PMI ACP falls under specialization certificate that itself requires small explanation. So unlike generic programs which are multiple places, multiple industries can be used, PMI ACP is a specifically towards agile ways of working. It also has more software oriented content, and that's why the PMI puts it as a specialized certificate. It is not a generic certificate like PMP or PGMP or PFMP. So we click here and try to understand the basic details of PMI ACP. We have done these kind of sessions before also. Some of you might have seen those recording, but we will repeat and we also explore whatever queries you have. Yes, there are some basic details related to the fee and other stuff. But first thing I think we need to explore is this a right certification for you? Yeah. PMI will have their own justifications, but you need to decide that should you do PMI ACP, will it help you in your career growth? And in my personal understanding, that's the first question everybody should ask. And the answer also may differ from person to person. It's not a one thing which we can say everybody should do a PMI ACP. In general, what we are observing is there are many agile certificates, like there is a CSM, there is a scaled agile. We also teach all these programs. There is a IC agile coaching programs. Most of these agile certificates are pretty much knowledge based. You attend a class and then you may give the exam from home and get certified. Yeah. The PMI ACP is the only known decently visible agile certificate which comes with the exam rigor. Yeah. So it brings more credibility if I tell someone compared to CSM or something else, because I communicate that I have went through the preparation process and I have proved my ability of understanding of agile in a proper monitored exam. Yeah. So that's the message PMI ACP brings in. From a branding perspective, what PMI is telling is they are saying that we have created this program which may be suitable for agile coaches, suitable for Scrum Masters, suitable for product owners. So they are saying any role you play in the agile teams, be a project manager as well, you may want to understand how agile works in detail, and the content also covers the aspects of coaching, aspects of facilitation, aspects of product management, and aspects of delivery, which might be linked to Scrum Master and project managers. So that way also it makes you little multi-purpose compared to CSM, which is a Scrum oriented, Scrum Master oriented, or a SAFe program, which is specific to a one way of working things. So it's a generic agile program. Basically, in the content, we end up learning good percentage of Scrum, good percentage of Kanban, good percentage of adaptive life cycle management, you can say agile project management percentage, and good amount of coaching and team building mindset. That's the program. From a CV perspective, I would say it is not as visible as PMP. PMP is the number one visible program from PMI perspective, but it brings the additional credibility for a person who wanted to demonstrate his agile understanding. That is where we see people doing PMI ACP. In my observation, especially on a social media as well as with our customer base, people who are already PMP certified, they are more coming and doing PMI ACP, though it can be done with non-PMP certification as well, because it just requires 2 years of agile based experience. Yeah. So this is the place where we see people doing the PMI ACP. Yeah. So again, it could have a specific, like you may have a specific question related to your profile alone, but if you see that adding some agile credibility can help you in professional growth, then you can explore PMI ACP. Yeah. Now, once you find that answer, and we can discuss if you have a specific query around it, the second question may comes how to do it. What is the process of doing it? So they do have a small eligibility check. They tell that in order to do PMI ACP, if you have graduate degree or some equivalent, you are expected to demonstrate 2 years or 24 months of agile based project experience. But if you have done PMP certification, then you don't have to fill this. Though filling this information is pretty easy. So any PMI certificate you want to approach, you open your account at pmi.org and you start filling some information. You have application process, same way the PMI ACP will also work. You need to start your application and you need to talk about something which you did in Agile. You might have played a role of a Scrum Master. You might have played a role of a product owner, project manager. Role doesn't matter. You just need to talk about that. Yes, you have been a part of the place where you were doing some daily stand up, you were having a Kanban board, you were taking care of velocity, you were looking at various kind of user stories and estimation, some things which are associated with Agile. Those kind of things were getting used by you during those 2 years. That is the only thing you need to demonstrate. Yeah, that's the first criteria. The second criteria which you need to fill in your eligibility is that you need to demonstrate 28 hours of Agile educations. Now, in case of this Agile education, PMI has a authorized training provider like us. Through them, they are running their own content, and that content covers the complete PMI ACP preparation. So if you go through a PMI authorized training provider, they give you the complete coverage and also 28 contact hours detail. Yeah, so you will have a 28 hours of education and they will issue a certificate which will be good enough to qualify you for that. Yeah, so that's the possible path you can take for getting your 28 contact hours. Now, if you are done with these two things, you are eligible for PMI ACP exam. That's the simple, straightforward eligibility criteria. If you are PMP certified, you only need to attend 28 contact hours. You need to just fill that information. You are ready to schedule your exam once your application get approved. So only 2 steps for your PMI ACP application. There is a question. I work in a hybrid agile environment. I don't have a formal role. Will justify the experience requirement? Uh, Perfectly, yes. Yeah. Once you have a Scrum certification, then you need to only justify the experience requirement for 1 year. They don't ask for 2 years for people who have a Scrum certification. They ask for active Scrum certification. So say you might have done a Scrum Master certificate or PSM certificate or leading SAFe certificate or SAFe Scrum Master certificate 1 year ago. You can mention that it should be active. Then the eligibility description only have to for 1 year. But anyway, you can write for 2 years also, and hybrid agile is perfectly okay. You don't have to be pure Scrum or pure Kanban way of working. Yeah. So eligibility is fairly simple process. You just need to explain as other PMI certification program, PMI will do a review and 99% that review is the only thing they do and they say your description looks good, why don't you go ahead and give the exam? Yeah, pay the money and give the exam. That's the 99% cases. In a 1% case, they will initiate an audit. And audit process is also very simple, where they will ask, yeah, in the PMI ACP, they already ask that information when you fill the application, that do you have a reference? Can you give an email of some reference person? They will shoot an email to that guy and they will say, this person has explained this particular description. Can you say that he was working like that? If the person says yes, you are done with the audit as well. Yeah, so pretty simple, straightforward process to make sure that you qualify for the exam. Yeah. Now, another question is, if I'm a PMP certified, should I go with this certificate? Yeah. So what I see is majority of percentage of the people who are taking PMI ACP is that segment only. They want to add additional weight related to Agile and Scrum in their CV. That's why they are doing it. Yeah, that's the good market segment. Sometimes people also get little curious. While I did PMP, say in 2021 onwards, I already did Agile topics. Yeah, so I have already demonstrated my skill. When we learn PMI ACP, we have a lot of people, you can check in a Reddit groups and all, where PMP certified people went for PMI ACP and they could not clear in a first attempt. Failing in a PMI ACP in a first attempt is far common than PMP. When you look at a social media, you hardly see out of 20 posts, you hardly see one post where someone fails in PMP. But when you look for social media posts, though the number of posts are also less for PMI ACP, but you will see at least 40% posts saying, I could not make it in a first attempt, I did it in a second attempt. There is a good percentage of people who are unable to do it in a first attempt. So the idea is that it is trying to get little deeper, not too deep, little deeper compared to PMP exam when it comes to Agile. For example, in PMP, you only need to know what is called user story. But in PMI-ACP, you should also be able to judge which out of four is a good user story. Which particular user story can be splitted in a particular manner, what will be right split. That level of detail get touched, where in the PMP exam, just understanding, oh, required in an agile manner, requirement is in agile is done by the user story ways of working only. Yeah, so that's the little difference between PMP style and PMI-ACP style. Yeah. Now I want to move forward and talk about exam content outline, but we can say, yeah, what is the overall idea? So this is something is a question which we are picking up. So can we say PMI-ACP is similar to CSM, similar to SAFe Agilist? Now this answer can come when we see something called exam content outline. So any PMI exam, you have something called exam content outline, which you can download from the PMI URL itself. And you can say, yeah, this is where we have it. And I click the button, I download it. Yeah. Now, this exam content outline contains what is getting tested in PMI-ACP exam. So I would say it is at least 3 times more than CSM. Yeah. And SAFe certificate are very different. SAFe certificate are focusing on a particular way of working. So I would say if I want to compare an overlap between SAFe and PMI-ACP, hardly 5%. Yeah. Good amount of SAFe is not covered here. So we are not teaching SAFe here. We are teaching the agile foundation here. In case of CSM, I can say around 30 to 40% content might be same, but the depth is more. Yeah, so that is something we can say here. Now, what PMI tells, they tell that we are testing you under 4 domains. 4 type of skills will get tested when you go for PMI ACP exam: mindset, leadership, product, and delivery. Now, mindset portion focuses on how do you understand agile as a core value thinking. So what is the meaning of agile? What is the values and principle real interpretation in agile? How do you handle complex adaptive system? How do you decide what kind of initiatives are right for agile ways of working? How do you use agile suitability filter? How do you promote an environment which is suitable for team development and agile ways of working? How do you build transparency? How do you build psychological safety? And how do you create a mechanism to capture early feedback? So overall, the mindset of agile ways of working usually more attached to the coaching kind of role, but the first domain help us in really understanding more than tools and technique. Why do we do this particular thing? So more focus on values and principles, and their real life interpretation of values and principles will get tested in the mindset domain. Now, once the mindset is over, then we have a leadership domain. This is more like building servant leadership kind of stuff, coaching, mentoring. So they focus on how do you build high performing team? How do you do team level assessment? How do you create ownership in the team? How do you facilitate retrospective problem solving conversation? How do you preserve knowledge? How do you cultivate agile mindset in people, yeah, in your team? So we understood the mindset in the first domain. Now we are learning how to cultivate that, how to create a shared vision, purpose, and facilitate team building, resolving conflicts, and creating a high performing team. Overall, working as a Scrum Master, working as an Agile Coach, working as an Agile Project Manager, as a leadership role, inspiring, influencing others is getting tested in the leadership domain. Then we have a product domain. Product domain, I personally feel is relatively weak, but it is more like a product owner's job. So basically, they talk about how do you understand product backlog, how do you really refine product backlog, how do you incrementally deliver that releases and value, how do you prioritize your backlog, how do you visualize the work, and how do you overall drive the value. That's a product kind of thing. And then we have a delivery. Delivery, most of you connect with your matrices and flow in case of Scrum Master role. So focusing on how do we collect early feedback, lots of focus on agile matrices, understanding dependencies, risk management, which is not very well covered in any of the agile certificate, but here you end up getting into detail of risk management and using some of the lean practices to improve the flow, continuous improvement, eliminate waste, and continuous engagement so that your team can produce faster results. So these are the 4 domains which get tested in your PMI ACP exam, and that way you can also see how it is connected or little different from the other certificates. Yeah. So is there a way to find out which domain of the test we have to be weaker and stronger understanding? The practice exam doesn't not provide that information. So our practice exam will give you that. Yeah. If you are enrolled to our program, so we do have you can go to reports. Yeah, and there you can see it. So first is you have a 4 domain specific tests only. Yeah, so that itself is good enough. Maybe the communication was not clear. Let me show you. That's an opportunity for me to bring a change here. Yeah, in that case. So first is that you have a domain specific questions, and then you have a detailed reports, yeah, which you can see. I may have a little different interface, but first is you have a domain specific questions itself, and then they have something called report or a keyword analysis. Yeah, let me show here. So maybe a phone, I'm not sure, but on a desktop versions we do have. So when you go to assessment, first is there is a test itself on domain. Yeah. So our first recommendation is you take a domain test only. Don't go for full length test. So this test is basically focusing on your preparation of one domain only. Yeah. So you make sure that you start scoring good, and then you go for a full length test. Yeah. That's the first information. In a report section, if here, then you can do a group performance and competitive analysis, these kind of stuff. And here you will see there is something called tags. Yeah. So here there will be a tag visibility. Yeah. So in your case, and we have a tag like D1, T1, D1, T2 like this. So even we give you analysis per task. Yeah. So you will be able to see your assessment report when you do competency analysis. Yeah, here I have not done myself, so there is no data, but you can do that particular thing. So first, please take the domain specific test alone, and then also you can do a reporting so that you get a task wise report. But we have observed PMI task mapping, even in the real exam, is not that great. So sometimes because it is also confusing, one question may map to multiple tasks. But fairly, when you start understanding your domain-wise performance, you will get a good insight about how you are performing. Yeah. So this is something here. Yeah. So this is our program. Yeah. PMI test I am not aware of. Yeah. So in our case, we have a 4 domain-wise test. 70 question each domain. One domain delivery, we have just capped it to 50 because we were thinking, should we extend it to 70 or not? So when you do a 70 question per domain, your domain is crystal clear. Nothing will get left. Yeah. So, but still you follow this thing, then you go for full length test, and we have a many full length tests. Yeah. 5 full length tests, which makes your understanding of PMI ACP content far, far easy. And I have ensured each and every task of your ECU gets covered here. And if you have any query, you connect with us. We have a WhatsApp group. If you are not yet joined in, please join. If you are our customer, we will also assist you by clarifying those things. Yeah. So this all is available. As much as I understand, PMI study hall, I think they have very limited amount of questions. And those questions is not that much helpful. Yeah. Now, this program is not a free program. Yeah, this program is a paid program. I was about to go there, but I got a question in between, so I went there. But this is our program. It has more than 700 questions, which are pretty much simulating the real exam situation. What we also do, if you enroll to our full program, where you get 28 contact hours preparation also with us using PMI material, then you get this material along with it. But if you are only interested in our this material, for example, you might have already done your application and you are already done with that, and you just need an assistance for preparing you based on questions and some concept related videos, you can also enroll for that. We have a $150 price separate only for preparation program. You are not expecting 28 contact hours from us in that case. Yeah. So we'll talk about that. Yeah. But if you have any follow-up query, anyone, we can talk that first before I talk overall about the preparation approach. Yeah. So we have covered, can we cover PMP, PMI, ACP, SAFe? Can AI be a threat for project manager, Scrum Master, ACP? So ACP is not a role. Yeah, you are something you have to do. Yeah, that's something. Yeah, ACP is not a role. It's just a validation that you know Agile. And what I personally believe is the AI is like we started knowing internet. Yeah, AI is something that we started using Excel file. So if you are not using Excel file, you were using typewriter and now computer is coming, you were not using internet, now you are using internet, all roles, everyone is getting transformed. And that is what the role of a project manager as well. So we are expected to get transformed. Now, which role will not get transformed? The role which doesn't use computer will probably will not get transformed. Yeah. So the people who are not doing Google search, yeah, because Google search itself got transformed. People who are not writing any code, people who are not creating any content, people who are not analyzing any data, they may not get affected by AI. Yeah, but anyone who do a data analysis, who prepare a report, who do knowledge analysis, who is expected to find some logics, who is creating image, or who is dealing with those kind of things, they need to use the power which is available to you now. And if you don't use that power, you are behind. That's it. Yeah, but it's a tool. It's like an internet. So all of us has to adapt to it depending upon our context. We do have a one AI based program which is coming soon in case someone wants to see how Jira and Anit and all integrate well and create a good agent for you. Yeah, so that is something you can explore. That's a separate conversation, but we can focus here. Now coming back to PMI ACP. So what is the course fee? So we have an Indian fee and we have a US dollar fee because PMI has a differentiation. So for a US dollar, it's around 395, around $400, which includes 28 contact hours. For a Indian fee, it's a 23,000 Indian rupees, which includes 28 contact hours. Yeah. So it means if you are taking a program, it has full assistance. Now, what is the meaning of 28 contact hours and PMI program? That's something is very clear. We should understand. When you enroll with PMI ATP, as a ATP, we will pay money to PMI and they will give you their portal access. Actually, there is a material only, but that way they ensure that you are getting taught something which PMI believes will cover the complete exam content outline. And they have basically a material created. And for each domain, you will also get something called workbook. Yeah. So they have a workbook for mindset. So from PMI, you will get all the material which is needed to get prepared and nothing else. Questions are not coming, but there is a study material and the same study material inspired slides are expected to get used in 28 live contact hours. So when I teach you for 28 hours, I will be using PMI material only, their slides only. So this is a one domain only. You have a 247 pages. Basically, it gets into far more detail than any of your agile certificate might cover. Yeah. So if you use this information, if you use the case studies, it is not only making you ready for certification, it is also making you ready for your interviews and for your agile journey. Yeah. It improves your competency, not just make you certified. Now, similarly, as a mindset, you have a leadership domain digital workbook, 166 page, talking about various aspects of leadership. Then you have a product domain. Then you have a delivery domain somewhere in the section. I might have not opened it. Yeah, similarly, there is a delivery domain file as well. So we use this material to teach you in the class. Yeah, and you get your own copy of this material. The major thing is it gives you assurance that complete contact ECO is covered. Yeah, and the material quality is also good. So that's the one thing you get when you enroll to the PMI authorized training provider. Now, another thing is on especially for us, as I was showing, we also give you access to our learning portal. So this was a delivery slide. So I was just finding it out. It's a 300 pages. So overall, you can say you have more around 700, 800 page material. Yeah, but it goes very fast. If you get the understanding of the class well, the content will be very easy to understand because it will be pretty easy to digest. I think I opened some wrong file, but yeah, there is a content. So overall, it will go fast and you should be comfortable in passing the exam with ease, provided you use the right resource. The question is asking, looks like many people are failing in the exam. Yeah. The idea is, yeah, yes, yeah, because they are not using the right material. So 23K includes the coaching and 28 contact hours plus our learning portal access. So our learning portal, which is in front of you, also has some pre-recorded video content, which is on top of the class. Yeah. On top of our live learning, we have a complete content on Scrum. Yeah. Agile practice guide. So we have folders. So you will learn Agile in PMI ACP, where you will have video content explaining the Agile practice guide, complete Agile practice guide, and various topics like requirement, planning, additional content in a recorded format so that you can start it as you enroll. Then there is a complete content on Scrum. Scrum as we learn from Scrum Guide, yeah, so that you get an understanding of pure Scrum in case you want to learn. Then there is a pure content on Kanban so that you get a feeling of how Kanban works. There is an optional content, not needed, but in case you want to have a project management mindset also, we also share videos of Pinbox 7 with you so that you also get a little feeling of project management if you are new to project management. These are the video content comes along with our program. And then you have assessments, as I was trying to show our assessment area. So we have a domain specific questions, which makes you ready for each domain first. Yeah. And then we have a full length mock test, which makes you ready for your PMI ACP exam. The number of questions and the depth is something which is little deep and unique from the other providers. So this complete package we sell as a one bundle, which is around 23,000. If you have already done your application and other stuff, then you can also take the only learning program, which we sell around $150. For India, we need to figure out the price. We can figure out if you drop an email, because as of now, we were only selling outside India that particular module. So $150 only for learning, and the complete package is that, which includes around 23,000 for India and around 400 for outside India. Yeah, so that's the information for our program. So PMI credit hours is 28. So if you already have done PMP certification, so for us, we will give you 60 PDUs, because we also give you an online self-learning program. So on top of 28 live hours of class, which anyway gives you 28, we give you additional. So you get 60 professional development units if you do PMI ACP program with us. Yeah, so that's the another thing. So how much is just PMI ACP only learning via classroom, and do you offer a certification completion? We do offer a certification completion around 23,000. Yes, yeah, yeah. So that's something you can do. So if you are only interested in content access, we can reach us. So I'm dropping an email. You can drop reply mail into the same email you were getting for the invite, or you can drop a mail to sales@izenbridge.com. I am putting that information here. Yeah. Now comes to the exam fee, yeah, and other detail somebody asked. So exam fee also varies from country to country. Yeah, PMI website will show you your exam fee. So please go to this particular URL. I put in the chat as well. Since I am browsing it from India, whatever fee you see is the Indian fee. So if you are a member of a PMI, then you pay 26,000. If you are not a member, you pay 30,000 for exam. Membership itself costs you 10,000 plus GST in case of India. But if you have done PMP recently, your membership is still active, then you will have a 26,000 price for your PMI ACP exam. Okay, so any follow-up query post-training, approximately how many months required for preparation? So say, actually, if you have a good agile experience, then you may not take more than 40 hours of preparation. But if you are new to agile and you have done PMP, you might have done CSM certification, but agile fundamentals are not that great, then it may take 60 to 70 hours of preparation. Now you may take 10 hours preparation every week, then you may take 6 weeks or 7 weeks. If you are putting 20 hours every week, you may do it early. Yeah. I usually see the 30 to 70 hours range for your PMI ACP preparation. Yeah. So that's something you can focus on. Yeah. Now, I also want to address the question of why so many people are failing in the PMI ACP exam. And I see on the social media, my primary understanding is they are failing because they don't have a complete understanding of exam content outline. So this exam content outline, which I showed you here, you can definitely download from PMI, but you need to get into little detail. So I have prepared, this is something I share on social media also. This is something I can share freely. A 33-page extension and complete detailing of exam content outline. If you cover all these topics which are written here, you will be ready for PMI-ACP exam. It's up to you. You want to do it yourself or you want to take assistance, but I am pointing out the subtopics as well. So for each task, so PMI only write this. Yeah. I am explaining in order to do this, you probably need to understand all this. Yeah. Then I have so PMI thing where you get it from exam content outline. So you go to PMI exam content outline, they give a domain and then they give a small subtask, they call it enabler. Yeah. So here, for example, they just say task one, build an incremental product and validate solution and market needs. Yeah, that's something they write. Now, what should you prepare? What kind of things you should know for this thing? I give you a little bit more details. When you are focusing on build incremental product and related solution, you need to enable focus on leveraging working product requirement, not just delivery. Make sure that experiment validate your assumption, understanding the distinction between MVP, MMF, and incomplete yes testable features. Ensure that you have a delivery, validation, specific hypothesis, customer interest, usability solution, different between iterative and incremental approaches. You understand what is a lean startup method. You emphasize on short delivery cycles. If you understand these things, you will be good with this particular task. If you are not getting it, then you should be worried about it. Some of the things will be overlapped also. There will be other tasks which might again test the MVP concept, but this is how you need to make sure that I am getting ready. So if you follow this, yeah, this guide, which is basically a extended explanation of ECO, then you increase your ability to succeed in the exam. So if you drop an email, we can share this file with you in case you need. There is no direct link available here. I shared in my LinkedIn. In case you are already connected or follow me on a LinkedIn, then you can get it from there. I can share my LinkedIn profile detail also. Else you can drop us an email as well. We can reply back to you. Yeah, that's also a possibility. So this is one file which makes you clear that at least you know the problem, you know the scope of the exam, rather than just you go superficially, read particular book and feel that I am ready. So better you go into the details. So I'm sharing my LinkedIn URL. You need to just see yesterday's post. You will find this file there. Or drop us an email to the same email ID, sales@horizonbridge.com. We can share this file with you. So my recommendation is you enroll to our program. Else, you better look into this file and create your own learning plan. But don't rely on having some ready-made online self-paced program, which is not PMI provided, because there is a possibility that particular program might be missing good amount of content. Yeah. So that's something you need to be careful about. Yeah. So will they ask about any question regarding any calculation? So you can get a specific calculations related questions which are focusing on forecasting your release date. Yeah. So you have a historical velocity and you have some challenges given. You need to find out when can this release happen now. So in a way, it's a you can do a visually also. You can do some calculation, but that kind of question can come. The another type of question can come which require little bit of calculation could be understanding what is the lead time, cycle time. So you may have a one story and you may have a timestamp detail about this story got started on this day, this got moved into development this day, this got finished on this day. What is the lead time? What is the cycle time? So whatever metrics you learn in your PMI ACP, like velocity, burn down chart, burn up chart, lead time, cycle time, cumulative flow diagram, not that much deeply tested because it's a little complicated. So all these charts, you should be able to plot, you should be able to interpret. Yeah. So there could be a possible image in front of you and they ask you, looking at this image, tell me where we had a slow performance, where we had a better performance, or how do you judge this particular teams over a period of time if you have a data in front of you. That kind of questions you are expected to see in the exam. Yeah. So that much calculation will come, not beyond that. Yeah. We can talk about any of your topic related questions also. I think we are basically done with the mechanics of PMI ACP. And I'm doing one batch, which is starting somewhere in the 21st August. It's an evening program, more or less this time only. We'll run 2 days every week, 3.5 hours per session. So for India, it starts as a 6:30 p.m. Yeah. So it's like 1 hour less than right now the time, and then we run for 3.5 hours. So whatever time in your time zone, you can understand that. And then we do it for 4 weeks so that we are done with the whole preparation. If you follow the content in between and make a good use of those weekends, then probably you will take another 1 or 2 weeks and you can get certified. but you must check your performance against the practice test. We have a benchmark. When you cross that benchmark, then only go for the exam. Yeah. It's little tricky. Many people will come out, 20 to 30% people come out after PMI ACP and they will say it was easy because they have an agile experience. 20 to 30% people who will come out and they says, I was not sure I will pass, but I think somehow I passed. Yeah. And 30 to 40% people will come out. I don't know why I could not make it in the first attempt. I got above target all in my PMP, but still I am unable to make it. So these are the three type of posts you will see in some of the Reddit groups or some of the social media groups where people share about their PMI ACP journey. Yeah. So it's difficult to predict where you fill, but that's where I need to focus on. Yeah. Now the question is coming is does this certificate enable me to become an agile coach? So the branding of PMI ACP is a foundational agile understanding. There are other programs like ICP ACC which are branded for agile coaching. Yeah, that's the thing. But if you do ICP ACC, yeah, the IC Agile coaching program, which I also run, which is a coaching certification program, we don't spend time teaching you agile. We expect you know agile. Yeah. And on top of it, you want to learn what is coaching, mentoring, how do you create high performing team. You focus on the mindset now. That is what is basically taught there. So if I don't have an agile foundation, the ICP ACC will not help me in getting a good interviews, yeah, or I may not be able to perform in the interviews. But with the help of a rigor of PMI ACP, I definitely cover those content which are most likely get tested in the agile coach interview. That's the most likely. And when the PMI ACP came in 2012, current agile coaches, whatever you see, if you go into details, you might see they have done PMI ACP during that time. Yeah, that's there. So it has a foundational knowledge. It definitely set you at the right foundation for your agile coaching journey. Having said that, from a brand perspective, it may not be the very frequently seen that you have a agile coach requirement and the requirement say that you must have a PMI ACP. Yeah, maybe it is missing in the job description, especially when it is coming as an agile coach role. Yeah. So it may work as a foundation, but for a job description, you better do ICP ACC. If you're only interested in CV filtration, then and you are already clear about what all agile coaching is, you already have a foundational skill, then enroll for IC Agile ICP ACC program. We also run that. That gives you the desired branding for agile coaching role. So hopefully I clarified both the aspects, the knowledge aspects and the branding aspects. Yeah, IC Agile. Yes, IC Agile, ICP ACC. The program name is ICP ACC. But in reality, if you don't have Agile foundation, then doing PMI ACP definitely adds your thing. So say any CV, especially for Agile coaches, you will see a combination of certificate. You won't see a one or two certificates there. And actually, it is not just a certificate which made them agile coach. The certificates, their exploration, their experience, a complex interaction of many things. Yeah. So if I assume I will do A and I will get something in the agile, as of now, that situation is not there. It might be, it was there maybe 10 years ago when things was just settling down in agile. We had many people who just did ICP, ACC and got placed an agile coach. But now, not anymore. You need to see very complex interactions. Yeah. So that's the point I was saying, that very few mention will ICP ACC as of now. The recruiters are less aware. Yes. Yeah. So only the organization who believes in hybrid way of working, they will mention ICP ACC, PMI ACP as a certificate requirement. PMI ACP usually come as an add-on when you demonstrate yourself, but the recruiter visibility, it will be still PMP and CSM. Yeah. So if you do PMP CSM, they are going to be more frequently asked when the CV filtration is happening. But at the same time, the PMP CSM is giving lots of CV to the recruiters. Yeah, that's a second problem. So now this is primarily to solve the second problem. But if your CV is not itself coming in a filter, then probably you better do CSM. Yeah, CSM is definitely a good filter criteria to start with. If someone has not done CSM and they are basically not interested in as of now to build the foundation, they just want their CV to get filtered, I think CSM is the good filter thing, and then you can do PMP also. It's also a good filter. But when these two things are done and you are looking for something next, then you go for PMI-ACP. Yeah, PMI-ACP. Okay, so timings the exam. PMI-ACP, hardly anyone complains about time. Yeah, yeah, in general. So say you have a 3 hours and 120 questions. So it's I feel it's pretty relaxed. Yeah, it's relatively. So you can say that if you think about that, so 60 questions, 1.5 hour. Yeah, so that's a kind of a thing you have. So yeah, and after doing 60 question, you can take a 10 minutes break. Yeah, the center will prompt you to take a 10 minutes break, and then you can resume your remaining 60 questions. You can't go back to your previous 60 questions. Yeah, you just need to do a one session and the second session. So if your concepts are good, when you see various terminology, they are easy to recognize, then you will not face any issue related to time management. But if your concepts are not good, then you end up spending more time for each question. You try to compare each and every option. You try to do elimination technique only because you're. So see, if my concept is good, as soon as I see the question, I know the answer. And I can just find out and quickly move forward. If my concept is not good, I see a question, then I see an option, then I keep comparing one option with other because I'm trying to figure it out which one I should pick. I'm spending time. Yeah. So preparation improves your time management as well. And in general, 120 questions for 3 hours are not that a big problem. Yeah. So in PMP, you have a 180 questions for 4 hours around. Yeah. So here you just have a 60 question less. And at the same time, you just have a 1 hour less. Yeah. So in a way, you get more time to handle it compared to any other PMI exam. For PGMP also, we have 170 questions, 4 hours, 180, 170 question PFMP, more or less on the same line. Yeah. So we will have a WhatsApp group. Yes, you can get added once you enroll. That will be a process. Our company WhatsApp group is also available. WhatsApp phone number is definitely available. If you want to connect and get the details on a WhatsApp, I will put that number as well in the chat. Yeah. The email is also I'm putting sales@eisenbridge.com. And then we do have a website also that is also eisenbridge.com. Yeah. And most likely you must have some email from us as a response to enrolling to this. If you reply there, then also you will get the answer. Yeah. So this all is available as well. Yeah. Kumkum can also be reached directly. So she also shared her WhatsApp number in case you have a specific query. I shared the generic one, but these numbers are also available to you. Great. So thank you everyone for your participation. And yeah, if it is important for you, at least see the exam content outline booklet in detail. That makes you ready and saves you money because retake will also cost you. Yeah. So better go prepared and finish this fast for your career growth. Yeah. Bye for now. Thank you.